Benji, wow, that landed on your paw. This is Benji, and this is Benji's roadmap to success. I'm gonna hold this tree here to keep you in the shot at least for a little bit. Benji is a 6-month-old puppy. He has a bad case of separation anxiety. He bounced around to a couple, this is his 3rd home. And you know, a lot of people don't help a puppy practice. If you have a puppy, help it practice being in a kennel or a playroom when it's really young. Feed it there, make it sleep in a different room. A lot of us let our dogs sleep in the bed or with the dog 24/7. And then when we start going to work, dog's like, hold on, I had 100% access to you, now I'm down to 0. It's too big of a jump, and this is what causes a lot of dogs to freak out. So in his case, it could be a little bit of that. It could be that he's bouncing in different homes or whatever the case may be. Now, he's also not I wouldn't say a nervous dog, but his guardians at times when he is nervous have been petting him. And for a dog, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're amplifying and reinforcing. So each time you do it, maybe you make the dog a 1/5 of a percentage point more excited or more scared or whatever it is. Well, after enough repetition, that really becomes a big problem. So to help the guardians with that, I went over petting with a purpose and passive training, which are the 2 easiest things that any dog guardian can do to help their dog have a better, more respectful relationship with them, has a healthy, what I call leader-follower dynamic. I don't want a dog to be submissive. I don't want to be dominant to a dog. I want the dog to follow me just like a child does to a parent. Not because I'm punished or disciplined, but because they're to nurture and look out for me. That's why I call dog guardians, owners guardians instead of owners, because owners implies guardian implies stewardship, where ownership is I do with what I want because it's my property. Now, we also went over a focus exercise. I'm going to hopefully have a link to a focus exercise above. If I forgot, the guardians are going to message me and I'll add it in, so by the time you watch it, probably shouldn't be there. We also went over a kennel training exercise that also should be above. And crash, that's passive training. So I waited for him to do what I wanted him to do, and as soon as he did it, I started rewarding him within that 3-second window, and I said the word crash 1 time. Try to come up with fun command words. He is so cute. And come up with a naughty dog name for him. So his name is Benji, but maybe we call him Jebediah or whatever, some other ridiculous name when he's doing something wrong. Being able to separate those 2 can be really beneficial. Also come up with some fun command words for the new commands that we're going to teach him. This is something I didn't mention to the guardians earlier, but we'd like to teach the dog new skills and tricks, because just like us, when we pass the bar or we graduate college, we develop a new skill, we have a sense of pride and accomplishment that comes from that accomplishment. And so if we can teach him maybe to balance a treat on his nose, until, you know, things that require him to develop self-control will be very beneficial for dogs that have separation anxiety. Also, the guardian, I think one of the guardians has been petting him, almost nurturing a lot of these unbalanced behaviors that we talked about. And we'll always look at this as I'm showing love and affection. What I'm doing is a good thing. And I never say that you shouldn't pet your dog. But if the dog paws me and I pet it, I'm rewarding the dog for doing something I don't like, number 1, and I'm teaching the dog that you're in charge, not me. I want to be in charge. I want the dog to be comfortable knowing that I'm in charge, so it doesn't have to worry about and stress about everything. So more that you pet with a purpose and the more you do passive training, sit, the better it will be. Remember, anytime you give a treat, the dog should hear the treat, the command word after it goes into their mouth, not before. We have these nice windows here and overlooks we're in a heightened position. If the dog sits up here practicing patrolling, that's going to kind of be more akin to him thinking that I have to look out for my guardians. So if he does do this, I would like to try to call him away. You can call him away and do a focus exercise. I also went over a stay exercise, and I like the guardians to get up to that. Remember, first one, we're going to get up to 5 minutes of duration. Then we're going to start adding distance and get up to 5 minutes being outside of the room. And then eventually, amongst distractions with the dog barking on TV or practicing next to the dog park that's right outside the domicile here. And so the idea is we want to help the dog practice, just like we did at the kennel, we want to help the dog practice being alone. And so it doesn't go from 0 to 100 to 0. I can practice maybe being at a stay while my guardian goes and takes a potty break. Or I put the dog in a stay and then I go and heat up some food. And then the dog is doing something, number 1, and it's practicing being the world doesn't end when she goes over there and gets herself a banana. So it's going to take a little bit of practice, but eventually he'll become more and more, as he has more practice, he'll be more comfortable being alone. And then hopefully we get to the point where we don't have to kennel him at all. But he's pretty much destroyed a kennel trying to get out because he's in that panic state. The more we help him practice being calm in the kennel with the kennel exercise that I went over, the easier it is. Now, he was about an hour before he actually got relaxed in the kennel, and we had to outlast him. What we should start seeing that happening faster and faster. Remember not to walk around the dog, to walk through the dog, so he develops that kind of follower mindset. I need to move out of the guardian's way. Use the escalating consequences to disagree with unwanted actions and behaviors. But really emphasize that. Use the watchwords. Remember, paycheck means you're petting without a purpose. Reward means that you're missing an opportunity to reward the dog for desired behaviors. Rerun or repeat means you're repeating the command over and over. And there's a fourth one, I can't remember what it is, but it will come to me. Let me see, what else? The guardian should be feeding him after they eat something first. Since they're not big breakfast eaters, I want them to just eat a chip or cracker, something that takes 5 or more small bites. Then we're going to prepare the dog's food in this thing. You might want to message me if you want to get a different one. I have another one that he won't be able to drop and open up like this one. And I can send you links to it. And then basically, but when you get to feeding him in a bowl eventually, or even if you do this, fill this thing up and then you eat something first, then you put the odd one down on the ground. And once you start nudging it around, I would say, chub, crab, I can't even talk right now. Grub, chow, feast, eat, comida, whatever the one word is that you want to use. Let me see, what else? Practice leashing him up multiple times a day. And remember, we're going to break down this exercise. We're going to do this for anything he doesn't behave well in. We're going to get up and walk to where the leash is. As soon as the dog walks in front of us, he's trying to take the leadership position. So as soon as he gets in front of my torso, I turn around, I sit down, and I ignore. I don't tell him no, I don't protest or correct or punish him. Just the thing that he wants isn't going to happen. So I turn and I walk away and sit down, and when he comes back, he's like, I thought we were going. As soon as he's relaxed, I get up and walk again. He should be able to walk, you should be able to walk all the way to the leash is and have the dog stay completely behind you the whole time. Next step is you get there, you tell him to sit. And once he's sitting, you reach for the leash. As soon as you reach for it, if he gets up, you go back to sitting down again. You're going to break this down in individual steps and help him practice each step along the way until eventually you can get up, walk to where the leash is, tell him to sit, pick it up, attach it to him, and go out the door, and he stays this calm. Remember, excited is not happy. When we come home, if the dog is overexcited and we pet the dog when we're excited, we're going to make it more amplified, more excited, or more scared, or more nervous, or whatever it is. That's why I went over petting with the purpose to help the guardians kind of, and passive training to pet the dog for desired actions and behaviors rather than reinforcing the things we don't want. Let me see, the video that we have above is on the exercise that will help him with his submissive urination, his jumping, and his excited behavior. Now, I had a really profound impact on him in that video. Normally, he would not be that settled down according to his guardians. So if you do notice that he's getting worked up, just follow the instructions in that video. Remember, you pull yourself out to the side and turn to the side and wait for him to calm down on his own. We're not going to give him any direction. We're not going to micromanage our dog. We're going to put our dog in stage scenarios and situations, and so we can control the environment and put him in a position where he does the thing that we want. When he does it, we reward him. As soon as he does the wrong thing, we just step out and we turn to the side. So we're not punishing him, we're not engaging with him when he does things we don't want, but as soon as he does something we want, he becomes very attractive to us. Let me see, what else did I go over? Rules, the importance of rules. When you have a dog that has separation anxiety, a lot of times because the dog feels either dependent upon their humans or that they have to protect or be possessive of their humans. I think in this one, he doesn't want to be alone, and probably because he bounced around in different homes and didn't practice it. So the more that we enforce rules, the more the dog sees us acting like a leader. When we leave the house to go to work, the dog doesn't see that we're developing new engineering platforms or we're doing great things for dog food science. They just think we're out partying like a rock star. And we come home and they're like, man, you're lazy. You sit on the couch, you eat food, you sleep, you don't do anything. Well, again, the more that we enforce rules and boundaries, and as well as the positive stuff, like rewarding with petting with a purpose and stuff like that. But the more that we do these things, the dog might not like not being on the furniture, but after a while he sees I'm down here, the humans are up here. So I see a literal distinction between the two of us. Every time I try to go up there, they disagree. And after we get to a period of time, maybe 30 days or as long as the problem's still going on, then we start inviting the dog up in the furniture, and then it's a privilege. And I get to come up here for good behavior. But I showed bad behavior, I'm asked to get down. I went through how to teach the dogs to have directional command, dog I should say. So the dog's on the couch, I'm going to take a treat out, touch his nose, and then drop it on the floor. I'm not going to point it out, he's going to see it, make sure he sees it. And then as soon as he jumps down, I would say the word off. Remember, the treat goes in the mouth first, they hear the command word after. So as soon as he gets down, he gets the treat, and then he hears the word off. And then at that point, if he tries to get back on the couch, I would block. But don't stand here like this, be sitting, and just have your hands ready and like watch TV, but you're watching here, and he tries to get up, you flash your hand and block him. He did pretty good. I mean, he climbed up on top of the table a couple times, but he didn't really try to get on the couch very much. Now for the bedroom, because the guardians really like sleeping with him, we're going to make that independent of the rules. Careful. That's all right. And so he has to get an invitation to get on the bed. We're going to do the same thing for that. So if he gets on the bed, we're going to go over to a ramekin we have on the dresser, pull one treat out of it, touch his nose, throw it on the ground. As soon as he gets down, say the word off. And then block him and don't allow him on the bed. We put our PJs on and do whatever we want, get in the bed. Once we're comfortable, then we invite him up. You can come up with a command word for it. I would just tap. I mean, he wants to be up there anyway, so it won't be that hard. Let me see. Other rules, he has to sit before we open the door. We're going to go to the door and say sit once. If he doesn't sit, I walk away and sit down and wait 1 minute. Then I go back and I give him another opportunity. I say sit again. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds this time, I walk away this time for 2 minutes. Next time for 4 minutes, then for 8 minutes. So each time he doesn't comply, he has to wait twice as long before we're going to give him another opportunity to comply. And as soon as his butt hits the ground, when we do that, we open the door, make sure we go out first, because like I said, humans need to be the leader. But then he understands, and he'll start going and sitting at the door as his way, saying, I would like to go outside. For the leash, make sure you practice that. My mind is bouncing around, but make sure you practice leashing him up at times when you don't intend to take him out. For dogs that get really excited for the leash, I usually recommend my clients try to leash the dog up 5 times without going out for every 1 time they do go out. So we desensitize them from this. There's, oh, is this another drill? Oh, man, I'm so tired. Oh, we're going for a walk. And you kind of catch them by surprise. Let me see. Remember when your dog has problems and ask yourself, have I taught the dog how it should behave in this scenario? If I haven't, and the dog's having problems with it, how can I recreate the situation but remove some of the elements and make it less intense, less commotion, less... I do that by increasing the distance, slowing down the speed, or decreasing the number. So if he gets too excited with too many dogs around, I might practice having him around 1 dog. And once he can be calm and behaved around, this is not a problem he has, just for illustration purposes, but then I would get him around 2 dogs, and then 3 dogs, or whatever the case may be. So look for ways to kind of reverse engineer this scenario and help him practice each step 1 at a time, and don't move to the next step until he's proficient with the first step. And then eventually you've taught him each step along the way, and then we can start stringing them together and then do the whole deal in a real world situation. The dog knows how we want it to behave. Another good example, like you want to go to the dog park, sit. And then I'll open the gate to let you in the little air, we usually have 2 gates at dog. Do you have that?
Yeah.
So you have to sit, and then I open, and once you're sitting, then I open the gate and let you go in. And if you won't sit, then just walk a couple feet away and let people come in and out, and don't tell him what to do. But as soon as he sits, then we walk over and walk in the first gate, close the gate, and then he's got to sit again. And but I want to go play with those dogs. No, we need to build in self-control for this dog so he's not so needy and insecure about things. I'd like the guardians also go to YouTube or Google, search for easy dog tricks, like I mentioned earlier, balancing a treat on their nose, but find some other things that maybe each week the guardians alternate. On maybe this Sunday, one of the guardians teaches the dog to play dead. I wouldn't teach shake because you have a dog that jumps up. The dogs think, if you must like this, you must really like this. So I wait on that. But look for easy things to teach him how to do. I teach my dog to back up. I call it retreat. Every time I walk towards the dog and he backs up, I pet him and say retreat, passive training. And so now it's very convenient. If I'm carrying somebody, she's my way, I say retreat, she gets up and backs up 4 paces. Hugely important. Other rules, not being allowed to be within 7 feet of humans who are eating. Now the guardians may want to put down some painter's tape temporarily so the dog can see exactly where the lines are and we can see where the lines are. He shouldn't be within 7 feet of a human who's eating, so maybe the area around the couch becomes verboten when we're eating. The rest of the time he can be there. Same thing in the kitchen. You guys kind of figure out where it is, but again, ideally would like him 7 feet away from you. In the kitchen, you might have areas where he's a little bit closer than that, but again, establishing boundaries and enforcing them consistently will be helpful. Remember, when he's trying things over and over again, he's not being defiant. Well, he might be a little defiant, but they're usually being thorough. You always have to outlast your dog. So make sure that whatever you're doing, if I got to be late for work a couple times, I'm going to be late for work a couple times, but the dog's going to understand that when I say this is the way it is, that's the way it is without exception. Remember to disagree with anything the dog is doing immediately. And anything you're doing when he's doing when you pet him is what you're reinforcing, but anything you're doing, he does in your presence that you don't disagree with, you're saying, I give 2 thumbs up to. Now, the only caveat to that is if he's doing something to try to get my attention, he's barking at me, demand barking, then I would just watch TV and completely ignore him. But if he's barking at the window, I would get up immediately and disagree with that. I would maybe hiss first. If that didn't work, I'd use the second consequence, stand up. If that didn't work, I'd walk over here, kind of like what I did when he was standing up here, and I'd walk past him. If I nudge him, that's okay. And then I'll put my butt this way and my facing this way. I'm going to walk towards him and make him walk away from the thing that he's misbehaving at. And so I'm going to take that territory away, just like if a little kid is crying in a restaurant, mom hopefully will pick the kid up and go outside and console the baby and get the baby relaxed and then come back in. We'd like the same sort of thing for him. Anytime he's reactive or doesn't know is too intense, always try to increase the distance between him and whatever it is. Sometimes you'll have to actually take him around a corner so he can't see the item. Am I forgetting anything else? I went through the focus exercise a little bit. There should be, I should link this above. If I forget originally, the guardian's going to message me and I'll have it up there. So there should be a focus exercise. Make sure you practice that up to 20 seconds. You follow the instructions in the link, but what I do is I practice focus for up to 20 seconds in a calm setting. Nobody should be eating or doing anything really distracting at first, but eventually we like that distraction. And then once I can do it inside for 20 seconds, then I would do it right outside your doorway and go back to 1 second for each movement. But when you're outside, he's already learned the skill, so now you can move a little bit faster. But when you do it outside your apartment, now I'm in a common space in the hallway. So that, once you get up to the 20 seconds right outside the apartment, then maybe do it downstairs by the front door. Then maybe do it outside. So the idea is we want to, again, make it in more progressively difficult situations, but very progressive. So the dog can develop a skill set first, and then only then do we start making it more and more difficult. Now I'm going to send you, I'll have a link to the kennel training exercise. The guardians might want to practice having him outside of the kennel and see how he does. What I would do is I'd probably look for a security camera or something that we could set up, or just an iPhone, and then film the room, and then go outside and just sit right outside the door. Now stop as you're walking down like you're walking down the stairs, then quietly creep back up. Bring your iPad or something and a pillow so you can sit right outside there and be a little bit comfortable. Say hi to your neighbors as they walk by. But now you can be out there and you can be listening. The guardian identified that he will start barking after he's in the kennel for 15 minutes. That might be just that's his threshold and that's his breaking point. The guardians were thinking he's smart and being crafty. I waited for 15 minutes because they were waiting to listen for him. Remember, the rule is if you can get to 2 hours, your dog can do something in 2 hours, they can go beyond that. Kennel training, however, we don't ever want a dog to be in the kennel for longer than 4 hours. Benji. Remember to put him in a sit, use that hand motion over the head, lower it, sit, and then give him a treat. How about we come over here one last time, Benji. Benji, sit. You know, you're such a good looking dog. Let's get you in a face fold. Come here, buddy. I'm going to lure you into sitting the way I want you to sit. There we go. Sit. Sit. This is Benji. This is his roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it. Focus.